Happy Halloween, Cancer! Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is your weekly tarot forecast. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. That way you won't miss any of the daily, weekly, or monthly readings that we do for your sign. Now, let's get into it and see what is the energy, what is the message that's coming through for Cancer for this coming week. Let's find out here. Okay, we start off with this Prince of Wands. Let's put that into some context with the rest of our Dove and Serpent spread. A lot of fire today. All right, that is going to include this mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card, and we're just going to leave that right there. We're not going to reveal it until the very end, so stick around. And that is hopefully going to tie the reading together or give us the confirmation that we're looking for, all right? So, like I said, there seems to be a lot of fire initially. The fire is kind of going in a straightforward manner. It seems very kind of chronological, really, right? It's just there's kind of a beginning, a middle, and an end here horizontally. So it's involving your path in the external world, like a linear path that you're on. And I'm going to start here, instead of starting with that Prince of Wands, I'm going to start with the Seven of Wands here, in the position of the recent past. And I think what this is symbolizing is a general kind of lack of energy that you may be feeling lately, right? Maybe for some time now, but I think it's really becoming more noticeable in the last few days, maybe the last week or two. And I think that this is a physical fatigue, a physical lack of energy. It could actually be manifesting as some kind of back pain or spinal problems. But it's also an overwhelming kind of energy that is kind of draining your vitality. Okay? I think there's some situation that you're in that seems a little overwhelming, seems a little overpowering, or maybe it's a little bit too big or too strong or too powerful for you to take care of on your own, for you to kind of battle, right? It's almost a David and Goliath kind of situation where you feel that it's a little bit too much for you, right? It's a pretty big opponent, whatever the situation is. But I think it's manifesting as physical fatigue and a lack of energy. But then also that back problem, getting a feeling like kind of maybe right in the middle of your back. It just seems to be sore. And it's almost like one of those kinds of backaches that doesn't have any real cause. There's no like overexertion, there's no injury or anything. But it's just the tension of your situation that's kind of causing that. Now, I could be wrong. That's just the feeling that I'm getting. I'm feeling a lot of tightness in the kind of the back muscles, right? I don't know if that's resonating with you. But then in the present situation here, okay, moving on from that Seven of Wands, now we're into this Prince of Wands and the Two of Wands. So you're in some sort of this maybe power struggle, maybe there's this conflict, maybe there's this competition, this butting of heads with this fire sign person. I think it's a peer, I think it's someone about the same age as you. But they're a fire sign person. They may be exhibiting a lot of fire qualities, right? Maybe you don't know their astrological sign, that's fine. But I think they're very forceful, maybe aggressive, very energetic, very excited in such a way that seems kind of anxious or hectic or rushed or kind of aggressive, kind of abrasive. It's almost like they are really trying to hurry things up. They're really just being relentless and forceful and just kind of just repetitive, like energy. That's just maybe pretty blunt. And it's just like constantly banging on your door kind of thing. They just won't give up. But I don't know what realm of life this is taking place in because, you know, honestly, we don't see a lot of Earth cards. We see a little bit of Earth. at the end, and we'll get to that. But there's not a lot of earth here, so I don't know that it's in terms of your, career, finances. I don't know. Maybe this is taking place at the workplace. I think the indication here is that it doesn't quite matter where this is taking place. I could say it's in the workplace, or it's at home, or maybe it's your group of friends. Maybe it's, you're battling some kind of financial situation with the bank or with a landlord or something like that, right? Some more powerful force. But I don't think it matters exactly where that is or who that is, what that force is. But the fact that you're in this situation and it's taking a toll on you physically and energetically, and there's this kind of onslaught of pressure and struggle and conflict, battle, this butting of heads, this battle of wills with this fire sign person. And this fire sign person could in some way represent the larger entity, if it's an organization, a bank, a management company, a landlord, the company that you work for. Whoever it is or whatever it is represented by this fire energy. Okay. And it is this struggle, this conflict, this kind of battle of wills that's going on. Right. So what we also see here, and this is just beneath the surface, and this is an interesting card. This is the Death card. And what's this doing just beneath the surface? There's some underlying, maybe kind of unconscious transformation going on with you. Maybe it's in terms of your ability to deal with these kinds of problems, these kinds of forces. Maybe these forces are leading to some transformation in you and how you relate to the world, what your place is in the world, right? So there's some kind of, and it could be a little bit more literal. It could be that these forces, whatever situation you're in, this is going to conquer you. And this situation is going to win out over you. You're not, maybe you're not going to beat this, but maybe you're not supposed to. Maybe this is something that the universe is literally taking from you or crushing or getting rid of. It's letting something die, right? It could be some plan or project that you had. It could be just your way of experiencing the world, right? Your attitude, your outlook, your point of view. Maybe that's transforming. And maybe this situation is such pressure and heat that it is causing these changes in you. And when all of this is said and done, you're going to see how you're probably a lot different having gone through this situation. Do you know what I mean? Is that resonating a little bit with you? I don't know if that's the case. And I don't know that it matters if this is something that you're supposed to lose, But I do see that all of this pressure and heat is causing some changes within you. Causing you to transform who you are, your personality, maybe your plans for the future, how you relate to the world, your attitudes, your points of view. You're being changed by this heat and pressure, right? And I think right now, again, it's taking its toll physically. It's making itself known in that back pain or that physical fatigue, right? But I think there is a lot of pressure and a lot of fire and heat that is, just like in a star, if we're talking about astronomy. It is similar to that, where this pressure and heat is causing some major changes in you, okay? Another card that we see at the top of the spread on the Path of the Dove, and this is representing kind of the spread as a whole, the situation in a nutshell. This is the Eight of Cups. This is a lack of optimism. This is kind of all of the hope, all of the pleasure, all of the optimism, all of the faith and trust draining from you. And I think that's the bigger issue here. And I think this is why we don't really see a specific indicator of what realm this is taking place in, what the domain of life is for you, where you're feeling this heat and pressure. But the key here, I think, the bigger picture is that you're losing faith, you're losing hope and trust and optimism in things. And that could be what's transforming. It could be that you have this pessimism, this lack of faith, trust, hope, right? The pleasure, the joy is kind of draining from you. The water is literally draining out of these cups. And that's the spiritual waters. That's the emotional satisfaction and pleasure, the joy that you have or used to have. Some of that is draining out of you. And I think with that, right, I don't know that this situation has caused this. It seems like maybe this has been happening for a while too. This kind of lack of joy, of interest maybe, of faith and trust and hope and optimism and pleasure. Maybe this has been kind of draining from you for a while, and now you're in this high pressure, high intensity, heated situation that's causing some transformations in you. So maybe in some ways this is, your guardian angel, your spirit guides, the universe itself saying, look, you've been losing your faith and trust for a while. So we're going to put you in this high intensity situation so that you can learn some lessons, that you can transform, that you can reevaluate your situation and move into the future. Now, speaking of the future, and this is part of this path of fire. Remember I said there was fire at the beginning, middle, and end, kind of a chronology of fire? Well, in the future, the immediate future, we see this is fire. This is the Eon or Judgment card. This is a baptism by fire, right? And this is kind of the door to your future. This is like the next phase of your life. This is you really stepping out of your old life into your new life. It's like you're on a new timeline now. It's like you're leveling up. You've gone through this subtle, maybe not so subtle, but this kind of unconscious transformation. And maybe this will start coming into your awareness a little bit more. Maybe you'll start to see some synchronicities and stuff related to this death card and to this transformation. But you are transforming from your old life into your new life, from your old timeline to your new timeline. And it's kind of a baptism by fire, because we see all of this fire, right? At the beginning, in the current situation was all of this fire, right? But it's leading to this wonderful renewing fire, right? Things have to be torn down, heated up, pressurized to transform into a new life, a new way of doing things, a new way of relating to the world around you. And I say baptism too because we've got that water. This water is drained out of you, right? You've lost this hope, this faith, this trust, this joy and pleasure. And now with the heat and pressure of this fire, it's a transforming, renewing, baptizing fire. Okay? I'm not trying to get too mystical or too hocus pocus here. But I really feel like that's the nature of the situation that you're in. And again, I don't know the specifics. Maybe leave me some comments. Let me know if this is resonating with you. And if it is, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We do this every day, every week, every month for your sign. Now, moving on to the path of the serpent here, we see some more interesting energy. And this, I think, is kind of, well, it might be a little bit more subjective on this occasion. Because I see the colors here especially, kind of dark, kind of dim. I feel like this is a lot of what you're feeling, what's going on with you. First, in terms of your ego, your mind state, what your energy has kind of been like generally. We have this Princess of Cups. Now, I think this is some emotional energy that's trying to get started again. It's almost like you've had a lot of this water draining from you, this joy, this pleasure, this satisfaction, this faith, hope, and trust has been draining from you, right? But then with this Princess of Cups, I think this is you recognizing that there's been this drain and trying to kind of you put a bucket underneath it to collect a little bit of it. You know what I mean? You're trying to save some of that. Or you're trying to collect it so that you can fill these cups back up. And that's the Princess of Cups. That is still that beginning stages, still the elementary energy. It's still kind of in its infancy. So I think you've lost some of this water energy, but you're trying to get it back, and you're doing so consciously. It's been on your mind. You're aware of this water situation going on. And you're trying to do what you can to either slow the drain or to stop it altogether and rebuild some of that faith, trust, hope, joy, pleasure, and satisfaction in your life, right? So I think that's something that's going on consciously with you. I think you're aware of that energy. Now, the next card that we see is in terms of your relationships with other people. Now, I think because of this situation that you're in and because of this water situation, I think there's a lot of just kind of sorrow and sadness in your relationships with other people. This could be your relationship with your friends, family, loved ones, your spouse, romantic partner, whatever it may be. But I think there's just kind of a tinge of melancholy there. Just a little bit of sadness about your relationships. And I mean, it seems pretty reasonable to say that, especially considering that a lot of this faith, hope, trust, joy, pleasure, satisfaction has been draining from you. What is left but a little bit of sorrow and sadness and melancholy, right? So I think that this Three of Swords, this sorrow, is kind of coloring your relationships at the moment. Now, the next card that we come to on the path of the Serpent is the Moon card. And now, Cancer, you are ruled by the Moon, right? The Moon is a very important card in your life. So I think this is a very important part of the reading for you. And with the Moon here is in the position of your fears, worries, concerns, what might be causing you some anxiety in the coming week. And this is, I think, twofold. I think one, it's this fear that you are in some way being lied to or manipulated. It's a little bit of paranoia. It's a little bit of not trusting anyone or anything. And again, that goes back to this Eight of Cups, this loss, this drain of faith, hope, trust, pleasure, satisfaction. But it's leaving you with a little bit of paranoia, a little bit of distrust for people, for situations, for the universe, for the world, right? And so you're kind of worried in some ways that you're being manipulated or taken advantage of, or even the people that you think are for you are really in some ways against you. It's that kind of uncertainty about things. And you're just kind of a little bit confused about what's real, what's your imagination, right? And what people's real intentions or agendas are. And that all goes back to this whole water situation. So it's just like, this fire situation, like I said, this was just kind of a linear thing. This was just like a beginning, a middle, and an end to that path of the fire there that we saw. The rest of this energy is kind of just about really what's going on with you, kind of in the context of this fire situation, but it's kind of its own entity anyway. It's kind of its own thing. Yeah, you're going through this high heat, high pressure, high intensity situation. And that is hopefully going to really heat things up for you and take care of this water situation, right? So I said this card was probably twofold. The other side of this is your concern or your worry or your anxiety over the fact that you are not experiencing life or the world or yourself or existence in the way that you want to. Right? And we see this hinted at in the Princess of Cups, right? Where you're trying to collect that water again. You're trying to build up that water element in you again. And now with the Moon card, this is the concern that you don't have the relationship, the wonder, the magic, the fantasy, the beauty of existence that you once had. Maybe at one time you would see nature. You'd look at a sunset or something, right? And it would really make you feel something. You would almost get emotional looking at that sunset, or, the bunny rabbit, or whatever it is, the waterfall, the ocean. But some things like this used to give you this sense of awe and splendor and wonder and amazement and this really emotional feeling, because your cups were at least a little bit more filled than they are now. And so you're aware of that. You're aware that you don't have that same kind of relationship or that sense of magic with the world that you once had, right? But this is something that you need to get over this. There's really no sense or point in kind of lamenting the absence of this. What you have to do is work positively to get it back. And I think that positive action is on this path of the fire that we see, right? Using the situation that you're in to make this transformation with that death card into your new timeline. And at the same time, you're going to continue the work of refilling your cups, right? But it's really, this is the obstacle to overcome, this kind of lamenting the absence of this feeling, the feeling sorry for yourself, kind of. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be offensive or cross any boundaries here. Because I'm a Cancer too, and this reading is resonating with me as well. But I think this is the obstacle to overcome. We can't lament the fact that this is missing. We have to take positive steps to get it back, to reignite that with this fire situation. Now, the final card that we see on the path of the Serpent is this Nine of Discs. This is gain. This is rejuvenation and restoration. Now, the Earth cards, I always say this, the Earth cards contain all of the other cards. All of the other elements are contained within the Earth vessel, right? So this card is a restoration, yes, of physical health, right? Your energy will be restored. I think once you get over this moon issue, this is the obstacle to overcome. And when this is overcome, you'll start to have a restoration of your physical health and well-being, a restoration of your cup situation, your water situation, right? Because all of that is being gained. It's being restored, rejuvenated. There's a return to health and wellness, a return to wholeness. With the Nine of Discs, it's about gaining that back. So you're gaining it physically back. You're gaining it emotionally back. And I think you're really going to gain it spiritually back too, because you're on this new timeline. If you embrace this fire path that we've seen, you're really going to be gaining something, and you're going to have a very holistic kind of return to wellness and rejuvenation of all levels of your being, not just physically. This is an Earth card, discs, pentacles, but it's not just physical material. This is that emotional and mental and spiritual vital energy that's contained and symbolized by this Nine of Discs. Okay, and this is the projected outcome. But to get there, we've got to overcome this speed bump, this hurdle of this moon card. Okay, now let's take a look at this confirmation card. I'm wondering, this could be maybe maybe a Nine of Cups. That would be swell, I think. Any kind of a six would be good, a Six of Discs. A Six of Wands would be excellent, I think. That's kind of the flowering of that fire path that we saw. But let's see what this is. Now, this could be a major arcana. This could be an Empress. It could be, I don't want to say it's the world or universe, because then we might be dragging this out a little while. This might be taking some time to really manifest. But maybe that's good. Maybe it needs to take some time. Maybe it's nothing that should be rushed. Well, let's see what this card is. Well, the Ace. The Ace of Swords. So this is like that kind of mental enlightenment, kind of a spiritual enlightenment. It's like that, the flash of insight, that great idea, that epiphany, that aha moment. And maybe all of this energy here, maybe this whole reading can be that for you. Maybe it kind of is for me, reading this energy kind of making me say, yes, that's, now I get it. So it's that flash of understanding. It's also this flash of being able to kind of see the path before you, kind of to be able to see the future a little bit more clearly. It's not as dim, it's not as dark. So this is that mental and rather spiritual enlightenment. It's that aha moment. It's that flash of understanding, that flash of insight. And again, maybe seeing all of these other cards and all of this other energy take place, maybe this has provided you with a little bit of this aha, or this realization, or this finally seeing something clearly that's been right here the whole time, right? But it's just been dim. You've been seeing it darkly. But now there's light, there's insight, there's knowledge and understanding and the power that comes with that. So Cancer, I think we're going to leave it here. We're going to explore this Ace of Swords a little bit in the extended version. So you can become a member to this channel by clicking on the link down in the description box. This was your weekly tarot forecast on Dove and Serpent Tarot.